All right, it feels like the NHL 23 trailer just came out, and now we have the NHL 23 gameplay trailer with some specific information on things we can expect to see in NHL 23. I have to say, I was a little bit torn when they showed the revealed trailer. All they really showed was a fancy shot that you can take last minute if you get hit or tripped. I just wasn't that excited about stuff like that. It's cool, but it's not insane. So they dive a little bit more into that and where you can use that, which is very cool to see. Just some more things you can implement to your style of play. I really do think that the changes they're making in NHL 23 are big. Now, NHL 22 was a game that a lot of people hated on. And I do think that for these games, for whatever reason, the developers don't get a boatload of time. I don't know why they're not given time or why they don't take the time, whatever the reason may be. I think that with the implementation of the Frostbite engine in NHL 22, they didn't get to work on a lot of the fine-tuning things. And those things that we wanted to see in NHL 22, I think we're finally going to see most of them in NHL 23. So let's get into it. Let's break it down a little bit and let me share my thoughts with you on why I do think that NHL 23 could be one of the better NHL games we've seen in many years.
Welcome to the EA Sports NHL 23 Gameplay Deep Dive. Now, if you receive any level of contact, from light bumps to heavy shoves, you'll still be able to react. Previously, when this happened, there was a loss of offensive player control to reward defense, but that never really felt authentic and mostly impeded the action.
So one of the issues I have with this is there is ways that you can hold the puck, okay, with certain players that have a really high rating on holding that puck, where you can't even hit them. And very good players know how to utilize that in ways where you can't even hit these guys. And so are we going to see that still? Are we going to see guys be able to hold the puck at a level that makes no sense? Or are we going to see more contact and then you'll just be able to do last minute inaccurate plays that are more realistic to what we see in actual hockey? So that's my question. Are you going to be able to still do that cheap way of holding the puck, or have they gotten rid of that and implementing this to replace that? So that's my first thought.
To make all these new desperation animations feel authentic, we focused on replicating real-world examples seen in the NHL. And what started as a small set of 25 animations expanded to the over 500 you'll find in the game.
You gotta admit that how cool that is, okay? They're actually showing you how, first off, they're showing us how they develop these moves within this new way that you can pass the puck, shoot the puck in desperate situations. The fact that there's 500 animations, well, when you try to just think about, okay, that's 500 different ways that they've taken a person hitting the puck and falling, and they're showing that here, but that just makes it so much more realistic than you even think, right? They started with 25, they worked their way to 500. That's pretty crazy. So that's a pretty cool implementation to what we'll see in NHL 23.
We've also added the ability to rearrange the player positions before and after the face-off, which will increase your ability to set up plays.
Oh, that's so big. So when you're playing online, you're playing HUT, usually in HUT you have your lines pretty stapled. I play a lot of online versus. The fact that I can adjust my players on the fly now, that is huge. Like, that is so big. So, you know, if I find that one of my players is playing really well on a side that I didn't put him on, I can switch him there throughout plays. That is a really cool feature, and I think little things like that, they give you more control, like an actual coach, and I think that that's going to make the game a lot more enjoyable.
Specifically on powered and out of vision passing. And to balance that, we're improving the ability to intercept or disrupt those passes if you're well positioned. But the offensive player will still be able to pass the puck behind the defender if they're positioned well, so the defenders won't act like a brick wall. We've also heard your feedback around poke checks, so we reduced player movement speed while in the defensive skill stick and decreased the effectiveness of poke checks when chasing or in a poor position.
So the reason I think that passing thing is a real big thing to think about, because for myself, what I notice is most players are not very good at saucer passing. Saucer passing is in tight situations, it's hard to get good at. But when you play somebody who is good at it, good at saucer passes, the puck is untouchable. So I'm just hoping that saucer pass, even when you are in a defensive position, basically if you use the pass button for cross crease, there's a defender between you and that guy you're trying to cross crease to, the puck's not getting through if you use the pass. It's just not. But if you use a saucer pass, it almost goes through every time. So the thing I'm curious about here, are we going to see a balance between the two? If you have perfect positioning and you use the pass button, are you going to be able to get through that defender if it's on their offhand where their stick isn't? And if you use saucer pass, is it going to be very similar, or are you going to get 100% success rate if the saucer pass is made in those tight situations? So just one thing I'm thinking about and excited to try out as well. So I do think those are some things I'm really looking forward to, some changes that are definitely definitely welcomed by the EA NHL fan community. Some things I was not expecting. The two things I'm looking forward to the most are seeing the AI implementation for goalies and just see how they adjust and see if they adjust better. And the poke checks. The poke checks, you know, for myself, if you're a good player, you use the poke check and you're very reliable on that poke check when you're playing on defense. But now it's going to be looking like a lot more like positioning. And I think that's something that needed to happen because the poke check, you use it, it's so fast, how fast you can poke check and so accurate on the puck. I think that's something to look forward to. All right, those are the changes. I am definitely excited about them. I'm looking forward to trying out NHL 23 in just a short period of time here. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and we will catch you in the next one. Take care.